Boxing is a brown paper bag business. Brown paper bag type of business. And I've said that on a few occasions in the videos, and I'll explain what I mean by it in a minute. Today's word of the day is wordplay. Wordplay. Shout out to Billy C, who kind of beat me on some of this, but let's talk about the Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz situation. I'm shocked at how many media people are falling for this bill of goods we're being sold. For fans, I mean, I expect them to have the wool pulled over their eyes over and over again and fall for the bait and switch like they've done so many times in the past. For the media, I'm concerned, and to be honest, I'm a bit ashamed. So when the WBC made its decision not to sanction the fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, you figure it was because he failed the drug test, right? That's what the WBC press release would have you think. Wordplay. Then we see a press release from Ortiz's manager, and man, this cracks me up. And the press release went a little like this. To clarify the Luis Ortiz situation, this is the real and only version of the current process. Mr. Suleiman and the WBC have not suspended or removed Luis from their rankings. The WBC's decision was as follows. They did not sanction the fight based off the fact that they are worried about Luis Ortiz's health. And to be honest, I must respect and admire their decision because I agree. Come on, man. The fighter's health is paramount. So the WBC will schedule a visit with one of their approved physicians to check out Luis Ortiz's health and make sure he is 100% healthy and fit to fight, and that the blood pressure pills will not affect him physically. Once Luis passed all physical exams and is medically cleared to fight by the WBC, we will begin to work on a possible fight toward the end of the year. Also, once all is resolved, we hope we can reschedule the Wilder fight in the first quarter of next year. Wordplay. Let me say one thing. First of all, the WBC can't cancel a fight. That's up to the state boxing commission. In this case, the New York State Athletic Commission. Listen, you've been sold a bill of goods, folks. This is complete BS. You're thankful to the WBC? They're doctors now? I mean, this is a scam, and I can't believe people are buying it. Media people at that. If you look at Luis Ortiz's prescription, you see that Ortiz has been taking this medication for a long time, and now you're concerned about his health all of a sudden. I mean, this is easy math. I'm shocked at how the seasoned boxing media is fooled by this. This is easy math. 2 + 2. I mean, easy math. What you have here is a cop-out situation. if you fail a test, you get suspended. You get stripped if you're a champion. And you lose your position in the rankings by either dropping some spots or dropping out of the rankings, the top 10 or what have you. But what they're saying is, while there was a failed test, it really wasn't failed because it was a reporting error. And since we realize it's a medication he has to take, but his team failed to report it, we'll give him a pass. But then we won't give him a pass because we won't let this fight move forward on November 4th. But we'll give him a pass. And you know what that pass should have been? That pass should have been a therapeutic use exemption. And if you buy into this nonsense that the WBC cares about a guy's health, all of a sudden, come on, man. For the media not to be attacking this crap, it is beyond me. So what do you have now? What are you left with? Well, STIVERNE hasn't fought in 2 years, but he's still conveniently the #1 ranked contender for Wilder. This after failing a drug test of his own. You remember that? Team Ortiz respects and admires the WBC's decision. Why would they say something like that? Because this is a side deal they cut. Which brings me to the brown paper bag thing. Boxing is a brown paper bag business. So what do you mean? Well, here's what I mean. There was a heavyweight in the early 1980s. This was before the internet, before boxrec.com, stuff like that. And he was 15-0. Something like that. He was like 15-0. But he was unranked. Now, if you look at BoxRec today, you'll see that they rate the top 1,222 heavyweights. Alright? He was 15-0. So obviously, he's going to be somewhere, if this were today, he would be somewhere in the top 50 or something like that. Alright, so, but back then, when I tell you this guy was unranked, I mean he wasn't ranked at all. Meaning, today he wouldn't even be in the top 1,222 with a 15-0 record. So, when I say he was unranked, he was truly unranked. He didn't appear on anything. So, he got mad at his team, and he left them, and he moved to Las Vegas. And while in Las Vegas, he met a promoter there, and the promoter said, "Listen, I'm going to get you a title shot one day." So the guy said, "All right, I'm going to fight a few times and see, I'm going to put you to the test." So the promoter put him in a fight that he won. Right after that fight, he was rated in the top 20. He won another fight. All of a sudden, he's ranked number 15. They put him in with the number 12 guy, and he won that. So now he's like inside the top 10, looking for a title shot. So he asked the promoter how he did it. The promoter told him, he said, I want you to take a ride with me, son. Let's take a ride. So they drove downtown to the promoter's office, and they sat there for a while. And the promoter got a phone call. So he told the fighter, listen, I have to run outside. So he told the boxer to keep an eye out while he was outside. So while the promoter was outside, the boxer watched from the window, and he saw the promoter go inside of his trunk, grab a brown paper bag, and hand a man with a suit on the brown paper bag. When the promoter got back upstairs, the boxer asked him what was in the brown paper bag. The promoter said that brown paper bag was your title shot. And the boxer, of course, didn't catch on. So the promoter asked him, remember how you wondered how you got ranked and moved up so fast when you signed with me? The boxer said, yeah. He's like, well, that guy out there with the suit, he's from the sanctioning body. I just brought you a title shot if you win your next fight. So fast forward to today. And this is what it sounds like to me. It's my opinion, of course, and it's alleged because I can't prove it, but you can't disprove it. So I guess we're even. Deontay Wilder pounds his chest and says he's the best, and I'm calling out all kinds of guys. I mean, whoever. Ortiz, AJ. And at first, we all know Deontay's been protected by his team, but I always thought that Deontay really thought he was as good as he believes he does. That his team knew he wasn't, but Deontay truly believed it. I don't necessarily believe that now, that he believes that in his heart. So they give him STIVERNE, who hasn't fought in 2 years, and a STIVERNE who Wilder already beat, and a STIVERNE who was already given step-aside money, so Ortiz can fight Wilder, and a STIVERNE who failed a drug test. So when you go back to the Povetkin situation, Deontay Wilder went to, I believe it was the UK, before he went to where the fight was going to be for Povetkin, and you don't get that close to a fight without knowing that the other guy got popped. Because if you do the timeline and then the date that the WBC knew about it, it just didn't, the math doesn't add up. So what I'm saying is, Team Wilder knew this, but let's say, hey, let's just go over there. Let's pretend that we're as brave as people don't believe we actually are, and everybody's buying into this, knowing that the fight's going to get called off, which it eventually did. And I'm telling you, they knew this ahead of time, but said, let's make it look like, hey, we were going over there to do it against all odds, when you really know ahead of time that this failed test was going to be announced. So let's the old perception versus reality. So let's get back to STIVERNE. Hasn't fought in 2 years. Wilder already beat him. Gave him some step-aside money, and he's failed a drug test. Yet, when Ortiz isn't allowed to fight because they're not going to sanction the fight. Okay. Yet, when STIVERNE failed a drug test for, you guessed it, the WBA interim title fight, WBC, excuse me, interim title fight, they allowed it to be sanctioned. Now, the WBC allowed STIVERNE to fight after he failed his drug test because, quote, There is no evidence that Stiverne intentionally or even knowingly ingested a banned substance with the purpose of enhancing his performance. Okay, so now you're detectives. Okay, so I'll play detective too. Bermane STIVERNE failed a drug test prior to his fight with Povetkin. He got popped for dimethylamine, or DMAA. DMAA has been on the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, prohibited substance list since 2010. DMAA has been linked to life-threatening conditions and many deaths of athletes. So it ain't exactly blood pressure medication. No, it's a stimulant. It's used for weight loss and muscle building and other overall performance enhancement. So let me get this straight. You didn't sanction Ortiz because you were concerned with his health. Yet, you let STIVERNE fight with a drug in his system tied to hundreds of deaths. And life-threatening ailments. I mean, and those are just the athletes' deaths reported to the FDA. We're not talking about other people. So, where was the concern for STIVERNE's health? Where was the WBC-approved physician assigned to check STIVERNE's health, like the one that will be used for Ortiz? Maybe it was the $75,000 fine STIVERNE paid the WBC that made it a moot point. Look, Wilder's going to beat STIVERNE again and then call out AJ, knowing that AJ has a fight. Then he'll go on and fight Ortiz again, who will pretty much have been off close to 2 years himself. So it's an easier situation to fight STIVERNE than Ortiz, while calling out AJ and listen, once he makes the fight with Ortiz or someone else other than AJ, after he beats STIVERNE, AJ's not going to wait around for him. So then it's like, oh, AJ's ducking me. All of these guys are scared to fight me, so they take these drugs. I mean, the spin is coming. Believe that. Believe it. So AJ isn't going to wait. He'll go after Joseph Parker, the other belt holder. And Wilder will accuse AJ of ducking. But here's the thing. If Wilder beats STIVERNE and doesn't fight Parker, he'll have zero leverage if AJ fights Parker and then takes Parker's title. Where's your leverage at now, Deontay? What Deontay needs to do is try to beat AJ to the Joseph Parker fight. It's a winnable fight. It'll be held in the United States. I mean, you'll have a little bit more bargaining power than Parker, who doesn't care where he fights. He'll go on the road and fight anyone. And then you get some leverage if you win that. It's not going to happen that way. Listen, here's my advice for Team Wilder. If you beat STIVERNE and you want to make serious money, then the AJ fight needs to be your next fight after STIVERNE. In the UK, that's where the money fight is, not Vegas. I understand Anthony Joshua wants to come to Vegas, but the fight needs to take place in the UK. AJ made over $30 million in one night fighting Vladimir Klitschko. If Deontay wants big money, he needs to make the fight next in the UK. It'll sell 100,000 plus seats, and it'll sell out in one day, if not within the first hour. I mean, that's just how they do over there. So let's get back to King Kong now. My question for Team Ortiz is this. Follow me. The WBC sanctioned the interim fight between STIVERNE and Povetkin, despite the fact that STIVERNE tested positive for a life-threatening stimulant. But they won't sanction your title fight for blood pressure medication? That doesn't seem fair to let STIVERNE be sanctioned for a dangerous drug, but not Ortiz for a legit prescription. So you figured Team Ortiz would seek some type of injunction by way of lawsuit. So why not sue? File a lawsuit. To me, it seems open and shut that you get the fight. They didn't do it. And do you know why they didn't sue? I'll tell you why. Because someone with a brown paper bag made 2 stops. One to the WBC and one to Team Ortiz. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Fight Journal. We'll catch you on the next one.